Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. He was up late getting the picks ready, and he's here to deliver them today. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. Welcome in to a hump day edition of Ride the Line. We're rolling through the week here. We have Hall of Fame game football tomorrow, which is super exciting. But today we have baseball, and we're here to give you guys the goods. How you doing, Grant?
Doing good, Tanner. Electric intro as always. I will push back on you a little bit. This Hall of Fame game is going to suck balls. Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. Deshaun Watson isn't playing. Who's their back? Josh Dobbs isn't playing. We're going to be watching Zach Wilson versus Dorian Thompson-Robinson. There could have been a lot better games.
I'll tell you what. I have already bet the Jets -1.5. I should have got him as a dog, but when it was said that Dobbs wasn't playing, the Jets went up and became the favorites in the game. So with that being said, though, give me the Jets. Give me the Jets -1.5. I might play the money line too. Why not? Because hey, I'm here. Football's back, right? Don't say football. This game's going to suck. Football's back.
The Jets money line spread, whatever. It's a 1.5 point spread. It's basically the same thing. That's the right play in my eyes, though. The Browns have holes in their starting roster. The Jets, even though we're not high on them, they have a complete roster. So the fact it's preseason is all about depth, and I think the Jets do have the advantage there. So that is the right play. Famous last words, by the way, but I do think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to see Zach Wilson putting on a show. You got Aaron Rodgers teaching him how to play quarterback at practice. Zach Wilson is going to be a different core. We're going to see BYU Zach Wilson in this football game, and I can't wait for it, Grant. But today we got to talk about baseball.
Wait, Tanner. Are you suggesting we're going to see the MILF Hunter in action?
The MILF Hunter. I was going to buy a Zach Wilson jersey going into last season after that story came out because I'm like, he's going to be legit, and this is like an awesome story. I need a Zach Wilson jersey. And thank God I didn't because it has absolutely no value right now. We're going to see MILF Hunter Zach Wilson. He's going to be hunting MILFs and scoring touchdowns. That's what we're going to see out of Zach Wilson in this football game, and I can't wait, Grant. And you know what? You should subscribe to the channel if you're not already.
Yep, absolutely. Tanner and I, maybe we'll get a content piece where we go out hunting MILFs at the game. You never know. But if you guys hit that subscribe button, all you're going to do is entice that content and other original stuff. We've got a lot of exciting ideas lined up. Of course, we're going to have the betting picks for you throughout the NFL season. So you want to be locked in for that. And you want to be locked in for these picks. Tanner, are you kicking us off or am I?
I'll kick you off.
All right, let's go. Let's start off the Wednesday
off all week. I've been kicking it off all week, and we've been crushing all week. And the first play that I'm going with is a NRFI today. We don't bring up NRFIs much on this show, but they're one of the best bets in baseball. They're one of the sweatiest bets in the history of sports betting. And we have a good one here with Shane McClanahan and Garrett Cole. The NRFI juice right now is -122. I see this seeping up to like -135, -140 by the start time for this game because the pitchers are so good. McClanahan, 11-1 with a 3 ERA and a 1.18 whip. Going against Garrett Cole, who's 9-2 with a 2.64 ERA and a whip right around 1. These guys are the two front runners for the American League Cy Young. And when you look at it, the Rays offense in the second half post All-Star break has not been good. They're batting about 230 as a team right now compared to like 260 before the All-Star break. And the New York Yankees offense is the biggest disgrace to the game of baseball I've ever seen in my life. Even with Aaron Judge back, they still can't hit the baseball. So NRFI. The price on this is just making me feel some type of way. I thought it was going to be -150 when I opened the book up this morning, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I think this is an outstanding bet, Tanner. To your point, McClanahan and Cole on the mound, and it's not just how good they are, it's their consistent ability to have a low whip, their elite strikeout ability. This is an excellent play by you. I don't really have a whole lot to say other than that. What I do want to get your take on, by the way, is what is going on with the Yankees. First of all, Domingo Germán is scratched from his start because he's injured, but then they end up putting him in for 4 innings of relief. Aaron Judge is too unhealthy to be the designated hitter, but he can pinch hit. How does that even make any sense? What's going on up there?
They're dog water. It's a dog water franchise that does nothing right, Grant. It's like they should have fired Booney. Cashman needs to get fired. The entire franchise needs to go, and they need to like get rid of everyone except Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge, and then start fresh. Honestly, this is a disgrace.
What was Boone saying about the day where they struck out 18 times? Did he say something like, "Oh, we were okay aside from the strikeouts"?
Yeah, he said that. It wouldn't surprise me. He's too much by the book. Again, I don't watch the Yankees every night, so I can't say this. All I do is I look for the standings and I see them losing. So I can't really speak to the New York Yankees as much as I can, like a team like the Boston Red Sox, but they're an embarrassment to the sport, and they're too talented to be as bad as they are.
And they pay their guys too much money as well. It's like the Dallas Cowboys. If you're forking over all that money, you got to win at some point.
Yeah, and they haven't.
They have not. But a team that should win this bet. I'm not going to say win this game because I'm not going with a money line or a run line here. I'm going with a total. I'm going under 12 runs in the Padres Rockies matchup. Now, I will walk you through it. First of all, the line is at 12 because the game is at Coors Field. We're at altitude, so we know thin air, ball flies out of the yard more times than not. But the reason I do like the under on the mound for the Padres is going to be Joe Musgrove. He's been excellent this season, got a 10-3 record, 3.05 ERA, and a 1.14 whip. Going against Kyle Freeland, who's got a 4.79 ERA, a 1.48 whip, but you got to keep in mind he does play at Coors Field. Those numbers aren't horrendous when you do consider the fact that there are just inevitably going to be more hits and runs allowed. Joe Musgrove in his last, over this month as a whole, he's got a 1.45 ERA, so he's been completely dialed in. He had a 2.25 last month, so this is sustained dominance as well. And then Freeland's last 3 games, he's had earned runs of 4, 1, and 3. If Kyle Freeland gives you 6 innings and he gives up 4-1 or 3 earned runs, I think this game is in a good spot to go under. Now, these bullpens aren't excellent. The Padres is better than the Rockies, but the Rockies has been trending upwards over the last 30 days of play, the last month, just about middle of the road. I believe they're ranked 14th in bullpen ERA. The Padres, we were also talking about this on the last show, Tanner. The Padres are about as inconsistent as they come. Pretty much every opportunity, it looks like they have to get an easy win. They fall flat on their face. So considering the juice is so high, they're about minus 155 on the run line, not the money line, the run line. I wouldn't take them in that spot, but because of how good the pitchers have been, I do think the under is a strong play here. Also, the Padres are averaging just 4.3 runs per game over their last 9. Rockies are under 4 during that same stretch. So we've got 2 struggling offenses and then one good pitcher, one guy who's stepped up his level of play. So my pick here is under 12.
I like it. I like Joe Musgrove. He shoved the Rangers in his last start, so I think he's going to do it to the Rockies today. This total's way too high. It's a good spot. Good find by you, Grant. Nice work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that 12 line, I was a little surprised. If it was 10, 10 and a half, I would have understood, but 12 is too high.
Yeah, way too high. All right. Going with the Rangers on the money line today. If you look at one team that won the trade deadline, it was the Rangers. They brought in Max Scherzer. They brought in they bring in Aroldis Chapman. They brought in a lot of guys that can pitch. So that was the one trouble spot in their lineup. But the thing I should say about their pitchers is they've actually overperformed this year. Dane Dunning, nobody expected him to be as good as he's been. And he's actually been a quality starter this season. 8-4 with a 3.28 ERA and a 1.19 whip. He's going to face the White Sox today. And Dylan Cease. Cease is one of the best pitchers in the American League, I would say. Not this year necessarily with his numbers, but he has the talent. He's pitching for a White Sox team, though, that's totally done. So when I look at Dylan Cease, he wasn't traded at the deadline. I think he probably expected to move. That didn't happen. So he's still with Chicago. Anyways, Texas is going to hit him today, no problem. When I look at the Rangers, they're batting 271 as a team. That's first in Major League Baseball. Compared to the White Sox, who are hitting 237. They've blasted about 30 more home runs this season. They've almost scored 200 more runs than the White Sox. Chicago at home for a very fair price of minus 140. I'm taking all day long. And also Texas at home. And then the Rangers also have a half-game lead in the American League West, so look for them to keep playing hard to hold on to that lead with Houston right behind them.
Yeah, I love this pick. I actually bet this one personally on the run line, so I'm ultra confident in them. The White Sox have scored the 5th fewest runs in baseball since the All-Star break. Some of the reasons you mentioned, Dylan Cease not having the greatest of years, and he's their best pitcher by a mile, and he's got a 4.15 ERA so far, so not that great. This team was having a fire sale. Obviously, the trade deadline has passed, but they were at the point where they said everybody except Luis Robert Jr. is available. That's going to do something to the team morale, and you're going against the Rangers, who are one of maybe even the favorites who get to the World Series in the American League. So yeah, I would love the Rangers in the spot.
Love it. Grant, give me number 2. We're rolling.
Okay, pick number 2. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Phillies money line versus the Miami Marlins. On the bump in this one for the Phils is going to be Zach Wheeler. He's 8-5 with a 3.74 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. Going against Braxton Garrett, who's 5-3 with a 4.08 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. Now, Wheeler has a 3.41 ERA this month. He's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 straight games. On the opposite side, Garrett has given up 3+ earned runs in 4 of his last 5. He's got a 5.92 ERA this month, so they've been trending in opposite directions. Obviously, we want to be the side that Wheeler is on because we're taking the Phillies today. Garrett did get a shutout in his last start, but it was against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers can make anybody look good. I'm not buying into that. The Marlins are the lowest scoring team in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break. They are averaging just 3.3 runs per game. That's pretty pathetic. Obviously, it would theoretically put the under in play here, but the line isn't that high, and I'm more confident in the Phillies anyway. The Phillies have a better bullpen ERA than the Marlins by just about a half point. I already talked about the advantage they have with Wheeler versus Garrett. Phillies already won the first 2 games of this series. The Marlins have lost 12 of their last 16. And one final note, what you were talking about with the Rangers and their chase to win the AL West. This is a wild card matchup right here. Right now, the Phillies are the second wild card team in. They have a 1.5 game lead over the Marlins. I do think that not only is this playoff position you're fighting for, but you're fighting for it directly head-to-head against one another. I think the Phillies have been using that as motivation. I think they will continue to do so, and they will get another win today.
Yeah, Marlins are hitting the baseball right now. That's been their biggest decline. In the first half of the season, they actually had a pretty good offense, and they've really taken a step back at the plate in the second half. They couldn't sustain that success. So I do like the Phillies here. Phillies are a good team. They're a very good team, and they're better than the Marlins. They're more complete. So I like this play out of you, Grant.
Thank you. All right, Tanner, let's hear the final pick for you.
Red Sox money line plus 120 today. Hungry dogs run faster, and the Boston Red Sox had a big win yesterday. Came from behind, a little from behind. Ended up winning, I believe, 6-4 yesterday. I said Brian Bayo, give me his over of Altracorda at 17.5. That cashed once again, so it's cashed 9 times in his past 10 starts. And then the Red Sox, they have Cutter Crawford going 5-5 with a 3.86 ERA, 1.09 WHIP, 66 hits allowed for Cutter Crawford in 77 innings. So been very good there, almost a strikeout per inning. Walk rate slightly high, and the home runs allowed are a little higher than I'd like. But Crawford's been very good going against Logan Gilbert, who's also been fantastic this season. Very similar numbers to Cutter Crawford, just more time on the mound there. When it comes down to it, I like the Boston Red Sox offense a lot more. They've been more consistent, even though they haven't been great over their recent stretch. They're just 2-3 in their past 5 games. But again, they're looking at the Blue Jays 1.5 games ahead of them in the wild card race. And this is a game that they need to win because they have Toronto coming to Boston this weekend for a series. And they are set up in a great spot to overtake the Blue Jays if they can just win today. They're batting 30 points higher as a team. They scored 50 more runs this season. They've had over 150 more hits. So when you look at Boston offensively, they're better. The pitching matchup's pretty even. I'm going to take the hot hand here, which is the Boston Red Sox.
I don't have a particular lean in this one. I think the Mariners are actually a decent team. I think they can be a pesky team. I think they've consistently proven their ability to get results against tough teams you wouldn't necessarily expect them to. In a vacuum, if I said, we have 1 game to decide the season, you're taking the Red Sox or the Mariners, I would go with the Sox. So don't dislike this pick at all. Just not for me today, but I will be cheering for you.
Yeah, I'll be cheering for the Boston Red Sox when they come home to Fenway Park this weekend and become the 3rd wild card team in the American League.
It very well could happen. It's certainly in play, and I honestly would love to see it. They're one of the more exciting teams in the American League, certainly amongst that teams that are fighting for the wild card spot. So I hope they get in.
They will. Next pick.
The final pick of the show. Guys, as I'm about to give it to you all, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Tanner and I are here all the time throughout the week giving out our betting picks. You guys don't want to miss out on those, just like you don't want to miss out on the over of 9 runs in the Dodgers Athletics game. Now, let me break it down for you. On the bump in this one is Tony Gonsolin. If the word regression was a person, it would be Tony Gonsolin. He looked like, what did he have? He had like a 0.0 ERA and a 0 WHIP. He was just, nobody could touch him. But that was despite opponents consistently hitting the ball. They were putting it in play, and somehow it never came back to bite Gonsolin. Well, it finally has. He's got a 6.39 ERA this month, and he had a 5, I think it was a 5.5 the month before. The numbers are trending down. They're trending down for a reason. He's going against Hogan Harris, who is even worse. He's 2-5 with a 6.07 ERA and a 1.35 WHIP. 4 of Gonsolin's last 5 starts, he's given up at least 4 earned runs. Harris has an 8 ERA this month. Obviously, the starting pitchers have been just downright terrible lately, and the bullpens aren't good either. Both of these teams rank in the bottom 10 in bullpen ERA, which is crazy to put the Dodgers in that conversation. But if you've been watching Dodgers games at all, they're excellent in nearly every phase of the game, except for when it comes time to close the door. That bullpen has not been pulling through. Now, if we flip it over and we look at the offense, if you look at the Athletics in their last 5 games, one of them they scored 11 runs, one of them they scored 8. Granted, it was against the Rockies at altitude, but still, if you see signs of life from the Athletics offense, it's something you want to take advantage of because they don't necessarily do it a whole lot. And then the Dodgers, they are the 3rd highest scoring team per game since the All-Star break. I know that's a little confusing. Scored the 3rd most runs per game since the All-Star break. They just put up 7 in yesterday's win with the line of 9. If the Dodgers give you 7 runs, the Athletics only need to give you 2 to at least get a push out of it. Can the Athletics, as bad as they are, score 2 runs, especially with Gonsolin in this bullpen? They absolutely can. So the over 9 runs, love this play.
Great play. Broke it down nicely there, Grant. That was a good one. I like that. I'm going to tail that.
Thank you very much. This is probably my lock of the day. I know we don't do locks of the day very often, but this is my lock of the day.
That's a great play. I really like it. Nice work, Grant, and nice show today. That was all the picks in a very short period of time because the people don't want the picks. The people need the picks. We know it's Wednesday. We know we need to get you on your way to get you to work and stuff, but you still need to bet and you still need to keep hammering. And that's why we bring the show to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Don't know. By the way, Grant, U.S. women's national team is an absolute joke.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the transition of I don't know what the women's team is doing.
I just thought of it. They are and did you see them like taking pictures and shit, like hopping up all around, like they did a good job getting to the knockout stage?
Did you see them get reamed by the media for that?
Yeah, Carly Lloyd did it too, so it's okay to ream them. If she said it, it's okay to ream. Listen, that was embarrassing. They're hopping around like Grant. I know it's the participation era we live in. Like everyone gets a trophy. Like, hey, we made it to the knockout stage. We went 1-0-2, and we survived, and we're here, and we're happy about it. But no, that's not how it should be. You were a disgrace against Vietnam. You were a 5.5 goal favorite, and you only won by 4 at half. If Vietnam had any level of offense, you would have lost that game.
Won by 3, by the way.
3? They won by 3. I don't pay attention to this shit anyways. Then you got who did play in the second? The only reason I watched the second game is because I bet on it.
Netherlands.
They were
1-1.
Oh, they should have won that game with ease. And then they blew that one too. And then I didn't watch the Portugal game because it was at 3 a.m. And I woke up and I saw they tied and I saw everyone hugging each other because they're a joke. They're a disgrace.
It was worse than that though. Portugal, first of all, Portugal was better. They should have won the game. In stoppage time, they hit the post. Portugal did. They hit the post. If it's 2 inches to the left, that ball's in and the USA is out of the tournament. And I believe the USA was 11-0 against Portugal all time, and they'd outscored them 38-0 across all of their head-to-head matchups. And then they get a 0-0, and they're out there celebrating. To your point, Portugal, the USA was the favorite to win the World Cup. They've dropped to 3rd because the odds makers have seen how bad they look, but they were the favorites to win the tournament going into it. And Portugal, I believe, was the 21st ranked nation in the world, and they were celebrating a 0-0. It wasn't a good look.
You're entitled to one bad game, I think. Like if you have a bad game against Vietnam, I want to see you respond in game 2. They didn't do that. Now they didn't respond in game 3, so there's no reason to bet on them now. I'll take a different. Who's the 1-2? Who's the favorite?
Spain, I believe, is slightly ahead of England, and England's number 2. So it goes Spain, England, USA, and after that, I'm not sure. I would imagine Netherlands and some of the other teams are right up there.
I'll take Spain because England lost the Revolutionary War, so that's gonna hold them back. And then this U.S. team's a bunch of losers, so I'll just take Spain.
I'm gonna take England. I'll take England just to be different.
All right. Well, that was Ride the Line, the greatest show in sports betting entertainment. Subscribe to the channel. Grant, see you next time for another show.
See you next time, guys. Keep riding.